hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's time for Pocket with Joe over here on YouTube. I hope everyone's Saturday is starting off great. I'm seeing the messages popping in, Vinny. It is okay. I understand that you are at work. We will do the recap at the end of the show, you guys, and I'm trying to post those recaps in a separate video as well. So anyone just looking for that quick version of the show can jump in over there. Now, that being said, you guys, it is October 11th. It is a Saturday. There's so much going on. The college football slate is absolutely loaded. We know that. We've got MLB today. So much happening. So we'll try to make this show as short as possible. Matt, happy Saturday. I almost said Monday. I saw all those M's in your name and almost said Monday. Let's make some freaking money and welcome to the weekend as well, Mo. So let's jump into today's slate. It's going to be a good one out there. I want to thank you guys all for jumping in the live chat over here on YouTube. If you're watching on any of the other platforms, make sure you do come on over to YouTube so we can interact in the live shots here. Okay. So I put out a couple cups of Joe yesterday. I released some last night on YouTube and then released them this morning on Instagram. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to give the YouTube audience over here a head chance on some of those lines. So make sure you do hit that notification button, hit the subscribe button, so you know when those Cup of Joes do come out. They're going to come out earlier than the games. So it's going to give you my lanes. Like all the lines are never out, and that's a hard situation. So the Cup of Joe will then be posted the next day. So if you want the best of those lines, make sure you do jump in on the YouTube over here. So let's get in and underway because one game is starting right away. We talked about this one in the Cup of Joe, the LA Kings taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Winnipeg Jets at home in this one are minus 137. Money line a favorite, plus 114 here for the LA Kings. And this total sitting at 5.5. The 5.5 is juiced to the under at minus 122 to that under mark, you guys. And we've got a great goaltending matchup, at least on paper. We know both of these goaltenders coming off hard games in some of theirs. Darcy Kuemper versus Connor Hellebuyck. I do think both of these goaltenders should be able to have a bounce back. They were two of the best goaltenders in the NHL last season. And when we look at them here, what they were able to do in their last games just wasn't pretty. We saw Darcy Kuemper in that home opener. He had an .826 save percentage. That just wasn't like Darcy Kuemper there. He stopped under 20 shots on his goal from the Colorado Avalanche last Tuesday. When we look at Connor Hellebuyck, he had one hell of a time versus the Dallas Stars. It was not pretty. He allowed 5 goals, and it's like the playoffs all over again. For Connor Hellebuyck, those third period goals just coming flying in on Connor Hellebuyck, allowing 3 in that third period. So not where either of these goaltenders went. Now, one thing you're not going to get in my Cup of Joe the day before is the goalie props because they are not released. I like both of these goalies over 30 saved shots on goal, expecting both of them to really stand on their freaking heads. This is a lower scoring game of this early slate, so you can still get these bets in. Connor Hellebuyck under 23.5 save shots on goal at minus 114 or over at minus 114. I'm taking the over. Connor Hellebuyck over 23.5 save shots on goal, and then Darcy Kuemper over 23.5 save shots on goal. It's juicy to the over minus 132. To the under, it's plus 100, but I do think he should be able to have that bounce back game as well. So look for both of these goaltenders to have a bounce back. Give me both of them over the 23.5 save shots on goal. Now, they will let you parlay this, and I absolutely love this, you guys, because I think this is going to be a game in which both of these teams do fire off these shots, and these goaltenders stand tall between the pipes. Darcy Kuemper and Connor Hellebuyck parlayed together over 23.5 save shots on goal each is coming in at plus 227. And you know, I'm all over that. Irish King, happy Saturday. Glad to see you here today. So all over that bet there with them. I do think, even though the LA Kings have dominated the Winnipeg Jets over the course of the last 5, I think we're going to see the Winnipeg Jets be able to get the win here on their home ice. I'm looking for them to be able to sink those shots. The Kings swept the regular season last year versus the Jets, and they've won 2 of the past 3 in Winnipeg. I'm looking for Kyle Connor to really step up in this one. We know the playmakers over here on the LA Kings, and you guys know I have a soft spot for the LA Kings. Kempe Kopitar, right? You look at Kempe and Kopitar and Kuzmenko, that top line has been phenomenal. You have to look at Kopitar here to be able to really win those faceoffs. If the Kings can win the faceoffs, this is going to be a huge problem for the Winnipeg Jets. They're going to have to find a way to neutralize them. They're also going to have to find a way to quiet Quinton Byfield, who came out versus the Vegas Golden Knights, was able to get 2 goals. So look at those players there for the LA Kings when we're looking over at the point system for the Winnipeg Jets. Kyle Connor, he's way too juicy for point. He's a $3 favorite to get that point. Mark Scheifele drops a little bit at minus 225. I think Josh Morrissey is where you want to look. Josh Morrissey is where you're almost on not laying that much juice. It's minus 113 for Morrissey to be able to come out. And then Jonathan Towles, you got him at plus 152. I think is a nice way to go. So lots of opportunities in this game. Again, this one is kicking off right away. You're betting it right now on DK. It's okay. I'm glad that you got the cup of Joe. It's okay that you're late. You're betting it right now, Matt, at plus 300. Gotta love that. Okay. The next game on the slate today, we are looking at my Calgary Flames in action, day action here versus the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues are rolling in as a favorite. What the heck, you guys? Why are the books making the St. Louis Blues the favorite after they lost to the Minnesota Wild 5-0? They look lackluster in that game. They weren't able to control the neutral zone, and the Wild just ran all over them. The Calgary Flames, on the other hand, had a fantastic, we're talking absolutely fantastic game versus the Edmonton Oilers, getting the comeback win, and they won that one in a shootout. Nazem Kadri getting on the board. Now, if you tuned into my Cup of Joe, I told you it's Calgary. It's Calgary all day in this matchup. The St. Louis Blues, well, they will have won the last 5. This is why we're seeing St. Louis being the favorite. They've dominated versus Calgary. I just don't see it happening in this one. I think Calgary gets back on track. So they did lose that game to Vancouver. I know that, but they were coming off that big emotional win in that rivalry. And I think in this one, you got to look for Calgary to have that bounce back. This is at home. And the main reason why I think Calgary can get it done is you look at these two teams. You look at the urgency of these two teams with how things finished in that wild card race last year. Both of them finishing in the Western Conference with 96 points for the last wild card spot. Well, the Blues got it only because they had more regulation wins than the Calgary Flames. So Calgary is going to be sour. The St. Louis Blues coming in here. Calgary is going to make them pay in this one. And who's going to make them pay from the Calgary Flames? It's got to be Kadri. You look at Nazem Kadri, his abilities at home last season. He was able to really light things up. So look at Nazem Kadri to come out here nice and strong, be able to net us that goal. I would also look at Nazem Kadri for 2+ points. So when we look here at the Calgary Flames and the St. Louis Blues, Nazem Kadri, he's the odds-on favorite to get the goal at plus 180. You know there's playmakers over here for St. Louis, Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, Brandon Shen. They are going to be hungry to light the lamp tonight. And with what we've seen, we saw in that first game, Dustin Wolf be absolutely fantastic between the pipes versus Edmonton. And then he had an off game versus Vancouver. So we did see that out there. But what I do think is we're going to see like players like Dylan Holloway. There's going to be success out of here, out of St. Louis. But Calgary, I do think, gets the last laugh in this game. Sharon Kovic is plus 380 for the anytime goal. So if you don't want to take Kadri at plus 180, you've got Connor Zary at plus 380. You've got Sharon Kovic at plus 380. Like I said, Backlund at plus 460. There's depth on these lines. Now, Rasmus Anderson, another player to look at, defenseman out here, but he's getting those shots from the blue line. He's coming in at plus 800, and Mackenzie Weegar at plus 650. So lots of opportunity to make some money in this game. But we've talked about those ones. We talked about them in the Cup of Joe, and both of those, the early action out there. We're now going to get into that 7 o'clock window, you guys. The 7 o'clock window, I'm kicking it off here with the Washington Capitals versus the New York Islanders. I'm going to pull some lines up here so that you can see some lines, you guys. I want to make sure that we're able to go over all of these things with you. We're going to try to share it here again today because The other day we tried, and it was just a different browser. The different browser didn't want me to share it, which is always a pain in the butt. I'm not sure why Chrome and Firefox do different things, but we're back in Chrome today. It has been giving me issues. If this show glitches, I'll leave the studio and come back in. That is a problem with Chrome right now, but it does allow me to share my screen. So let's look at the Washington Capitals. Let's look at their lineup here, and I will show you what we've got for them. So looking at the Washington Capitals, you guys, this is what you're seeing for the lineup. You got Alex Ovechkin, Dylan Strome, Connor McMichael on that top line there for the Capitals. This is a solid top line that we have out there for them. I do think Tom Wilson on the second line coming in here on the right wing is definitely someone you want to circle to have strength out there for the Washington Capitals as well. And when we look at that defensive pairing, your top defenseman is really John Carlson out here. John Carlson has been so strong for them. Now we're looking at the top power play unit: Tom Wilson, Dylan Strome, Dubas, Ovechkin, and John Carlson. Again, I do think there is ability for you to go with John Carlson and Ovi for a point today. I think in this game at home, we should see a lot of strength out of both of these players. Tom Wilson for the anytime goal is great plus money, you guys, for the Washington Capitals. Tom Wilson for the anytime goal, he is coming in at plus 190 to plus 200. It just depends on your book that you're looking at. So looking at Tom Wilson, where we're seeing him in the lineup, Tom Wilson is coming in on. Is Tom Wilson not playing today, you guys? No, this has gone back to Carolina. Why it went back to Carolina? There we go. Tom Wilson is on that top power play unit there. I was looking at the wrong page. And then you're seeing Tom Wilson coming in right here on that right wing. So that is where we're seeing Tom Wilson. When we look at Tom Wilson, we are seeing him in that last game out. He was able to get 3 shots on goal. He's on the second line top power play unit like we just saw. Look for him to come out aggressive. He got the goal in the last game on only 3 shots. So plus 190-ish to plus 200, I do think Tom Wilson is worth a look. Now, looking at both of these teams and what we're seeing out there on that money line, where we're seeing those odds laying, the Washington Capitals are minus 120. The Islanders at home are a home dog at plus 100. You guys know I love a home dog, but I can't get behind this team. We have a total of 5.5. It's minus 114 to the over. I do lean for this one to be a sneaky over because of my lack of trust in Sorokin. I was shocked at how rusty he looked in that first game versus Pittsburgh. Now, Logan Thompson coming out here for the Washington Capitals. I'm kind of iffy on if he's going to have a really solid day or not. We know we've got scoring depth on the Isles as well. We got some players that really can light that lamp out there, but I think the Capitals get it done at the end of the day. I'm going to take the Capitals here for the straight up money line win. I know you got to lay some juice at minus 120. It keeps ticking up though, you guys. It was minus 125 before. So look for this one to be able to sneak over that total. The Capitals, I think the Capitals win this one in a 4-2 style game where we sneak over, and the fourth goal for the Capitals to push us over that total comes because of an empty netter. So that's what I'm looking at in this one. I do think they can get the win. I do think we go over. So the over coming in at that minus 114 mark. We're starting to see juice dropping on that one. So definitely something to look into. I'm seeing all of you guys jump in. Let's go. Let's make some money. I know, really weird, hey, how we had no games on a Friday. Everyone wants hockey night in Canada, but this is kind of weird, right? I'm glad we got a loaded day. For sure. Good morning, Larry. Great to see you here as well. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. Anytime goal or points parlay, Pasternak, Troy Terry, Raquel, and Brady Tkachuk. I like where you're going there. I would look at the points parlay for those guys. I know all of them can come out nice and strong. I'd look at 1+ point for all of them. Maybe do a round robin kind of effect there. Brady Tkachuk will probably be highly juiced out of all of, and Pasternak will be highly juiced. You should be able to get Raquel and Troy Terry at nice prices. So parlaying, round robin parlay would be a good one. Yeah, Mo, Ovi, 3 goals away from 900. Let's frickin' go. That's where I was going to go next, looking at Ovechkin for the anytime goal in this matchup. The Washington Capitals, just superstar out here. Ovechkin to come out strong. His anytime goal at plus 140. It will put him one more goal closer to hitting that 900. I do think it is a solid way to go. You hit 6660 on your birthday, 8 picks. Oh, man. That is fantastic. Way to go. Dre Sanders. I love it. Let us know what you're able to cash in on that one. Sorry, guys. Let's move on to the next game here. We're going to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Just pulling up current odds for you. We have the Maple Leafs rolling in as a favorite. Not as high as a favorite as I would have expected. They're minus 142 on that money line. The Detroit Red Wings at plus 118. We got that total sitting at 6.5, one of the higher totals of the day. It's minus 140 to the under. It's plus 114 to the over in this. Stolarz versus Cam Talbot. Now, I know Cam Talbot in that last game, he looked a mess out there for the Red Wings. And I know a lot of people would look at this one just to clearly take it to the over. If you want to take it to the over, I would isolate the Maple Leafs team total to the over. I don't think the Red Wings are scoring a lot of goals. Cam Talbot, though, versus the Leafs has great numbers, you guys. He's gone 6-5-2 in 15 games with a 2.83 goals against average and a 901 save percentage. So I'm a little leery of taking their team total to the over as well. You got to lay 3.5 goals, and you're going to have to pay a bit of juice to that over. The Red Wings team total is where I'm going to isolate in this one. Stolarz has been straight fire versus the Detroit Red Wings. Only 2 games, so small sample size versus the Red Wings, but in those games, he has an average of 0.49 goals against average and an 980 save percentage. So strong versus Detroit in those 2 games. And I expect him to come in with that confidence in this game. Goalies with the confidence is where you want to back them. The Detroit Red Wings team total under 2.5. I know Red Wings fans, you don't like it. It's coming in at plus 116. So my concern here with looking at the full game to the under because of that is the Red Wings did allow 5 goals on 13 shots the other night. And we know this Leafs team can score, and they can score with a vengeance. But I do expect the Red Wings to come out just so solid defensively in this one. If you're looking at players for points, the only way I'd look would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Morgan Rielly for his points. Morgan Rielly, defenseman, on Wednesday had 5 shots on net and an assist. He came out so strong. You look at him versus Detroit in his career, 8 assists in 10 games versus Detroit. So he comes out so solid and so strong versus them. You also have Austin Matthews, William Nylander that I do think can get those goals. So if you want to parlay Morgan Rielly with Austin Matthews for a goal, Morgan Rielly for a point, or William Nylander for a goal and Morgan Rielly for a point, I think it is a solid way to go. Morgan Rielly has returned to that top power play. So let's pull up Toronto's lines so I can show you that here. Just bear with me for just 1 second. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, here we go. You know, some of these days, you guys, it's just fun, right? Sharing screens. There we go. I need a producer behind the scenes. Who wants to be my producer? Okay, so here we go. This is the top line. Matthew Knies. Don't sleep on this kid, you guys. Matthew Knies had a phenomenal season last year. He got paid. Matthew Knies, definitely someone you want to have circled on. If you're doing an NHL Survivor, I hope you guys join my NHL Point Streak Survivor. It was only $10 over on Splash Sports. You might still possibility of getting in. The links are below this video, but if not, maybe next time, maybe we'll start a mid-season Point Streak Survivor, a second chance Point Streak Survivor. But Matthew Knies would be someone I would always have circled. Then you got Austin Matthews centering that line. Marcelli is going to be lightning fast for this team this season. He is going to be passing that puck off to Matthews and off to Knies. So when you're looking at those point combinations, you look at Knies or Matthews for the goal, look at Marcelli for the assist, or you could just do the point combos. Tavares on that second line with Nylander and Bobby McCann. The depth on this team, you go down, you've got Max Domi. You got so much strength. Morgan Riley on that top defensive pairing with Brandon Carlo. This is a defensive pairing that gives offenses nightmares out there. And then Chris Tanev down here. You got so much power on this team. Your top power play unit is going to be Stella. Teams do not want to take penalties against the Toronto Maple Leafs with Nyes, John Tavares, Nylander, Riley, and Matthews. This is going to be a unit that's able to get things done this season. And then that second power play unit, don't sleep on them either. You got Maselli on this one. He is a pass first player out there. This is a line where you can look at Max Domi to get those shots on goal on that second power play. As I do see Maselli passing it off to Max Domi and Max Domi being able to fire that puck in the net. We saw some clinch goals out of him last season. So definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're backing these teams. So Maple Leafs are dangerous. Maple Leafs are dangerous out there. My problem here with the Maple Leafs is I don't want to lay minus 142 on the money line. If you like the Maple Leafs, if Detroit puts some pressure on this to start, even when you see Detroit in the Leafs zone, the books are going to adjust those odds. We can rapidly see the odds moving in the NHL. That is where, if you can get on it fast enough on your books, you can get a better line. So I think if Toronto is able to go in one place or another, it would be first period on the puck line. I think they come out, they score fast and early in that one. You just hit a freaking number 13 first, like LGF. Let's effing go. Yes, that's what you're saying. Let's effing go. You hit on number 13, $40 on it. Hell yeah, I love to hear that. You put on number 13. Sometimes it's meant to be lucky, other times not. So Irish King, congratulations. Really happy to hear it. And Kev, good morning. Sorry, sometimes those comments take me a second, especially on a Saturday morning here. But let's roll with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first period. I do think that's where, if you want to take the Leafs, you take them puck line first period. And then the Red Wings just under 2.5 goals. I just don't trust them to be able to put these goals on Stolarz with how well he's played against them before. Morgan Riley for his points today, just because of how he played last game. And then Matthews, Knives, Nylander, you're going to find power. Let's look at the Buffalo Sabres, you guys, taking on the Boston Bruins. And we do have that LA Kings game and Winnipeg Jets game kicking off at 1:40 Eastern. So that one's coming up shortly. If you guys didn't catch the Cup of Joe, head on over and watch that for the bets in that. But we did talk this one, so it's at the start of the video here. So the next game, we're looking at the Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins. Looking at this matchup, the Buffalo Sabres are a minus 104 dog on the road. The Boston Bruins, who the heck thought they were winning their first two games? I surely didn't. I am shocked with what we saw out of Boston in those first two games. This is a team that I don't trust. I don't trust them even after those wins. They're minus 115 at home, and I know they still have some talent, but I think this team just is going to sputter out in this game. We've got total of 5.5. So looking at this one, we have Ellis in net for Buffalo. He was claimed off waivers, you guys, and we do have Swayman coming in for the Boston Bruins. Now, the Bruins are 2-0. Like I said, they were able to get wins over the Washington Capitals and the Chicago Blackhawks to open up the season. I thought this team would be 0-2. Not gonna lie here. Buffalo, I think they're going to come out firing. You know, you look at Buffalo to have that bounce back game in this game. I'm expecting them to be able to convert on that power play. That game versus the Rangers, they came out and they were firing, and they came against a hot Igor Shesterkin. They had 37 shots on Igor Shesterkin, and they just were not able to net one at all. Igor was on fire in that game. They put that kind of pressure here on Swayman and the Boston Bruins. They're going to get it done. And I do think the defense here of the Boston Bruins isn't going to be as strong as the defense that we did see of the Rangers when the Buffalo Sabres faced them. So just let me have a sip of coffee here, you guys. Now, when we look at the season last year, we did see the Sabres beat the Bruins 3 times. And in those 3 games, they put up a total of 16 goals. This is a Sabres team that can score on Boston. So if you want to look at their team total, I do think their team total is an interesting way to go. I'm just going to pull it up here. I haven't got my bet in on this one. I just took Buffalo at -104, but Buffalo's total goals over 2.5 goals is -164. This is why I didn't get there. Sometimes I don't remember why I didn't get to a bet. Over 2.5 goals, -164. I can't lay that juice. Do I really think they can get 4 goals here? 3 games, 16 goals last season. They should be able to get 4 goals on the Boston Bruins. If you're willing to take over 3.5 goals here for the Buffalo Sabres, it's +156. I do think it is a solid bet. I do think they can get 4 goals on the board, but I also feel like just taking them on the money line at -104 is the way to go. I don't see Boston winning this one 5-4. I think if Boston wins this, it's because Swayman just has an ultimate game. I don't see it happening. So I do think the Buffalo Sabres can win this in a 3-2 game or a 4-3 style game. I'd rather just have the -104. Now, this could be a live betting opportunity as well. So there's a couple different ways to look at this. I do think you look at those playmakers out there, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin. I think you got a lot of playmakers that have every ability to be able to get things done for the Buffalo Sabres. I would stay off the Boston Bruins. We know there's playmakers up and down the roster for the Boston Bruins that have been impactful so far this season. I don't see it happening again. You know, you look at Pasta, he's +105 for the anytime goal. There's no value in that. If you guys just want to go out and bet those favorites, you're not watching this show, right? Like, people who bet the favorites aren't sitting here today. Tage Thompson's +145. Yeah, he has value. He is one of the best players out there on the ice for the Sabres. I think looking down the list on both of these teams, if you want to do it. Jack Quinn, someone who made us money last year, coming in at +340. Jason Zucker also coming in at +230. I think is a nice look for the Buffalo Sabres. I think both of those players could be able to net us one, and you're getting great plus money. And if you don't want to take them to net that goal, look at them for those points today, parlaying a couple of those guys with Tage Thompson. Like, you could look here at Jason Zucker parlayed with Tage Thompson, both are Tage for the goal and Zucker for the point, and you're going to get better money. Now, on the other side for Boston, if you love Boston, you want to bet Boston today, Pasta is +105, but you go down to Morgan Geekie, and I do think Morgan Geekie, solid way to go. He's so impactful. He was so impactful going into the end of the season. He scored in 6 straight games. And I do think Morgan Geekie will continue with that momentum this season. So I would look there. Casey Middlestat, also a player that is surprising to me all the time for the Boston Bruins. Casey Middlestat coming in at +370 for the anytime goal. His points, if I can get to it here. I'm just going to pull up his points for you guys. Player points for Casey Middlestat, because I do think it will be a nice way to go if the books are giving it to us. He is coming in at +144. I do think that is a solid way to go with Casey Middlestat. Young team. Yeah, very young team out here. Tage Thompson has 2 Hatties in 3 games versus the Bruins. Mo, I love that you're bringing that. Mo's always bringing these stats, you guys. If you're in the live chat, always stay tuned for the stats that he is throwing out for us. So if you look at Tage Thompson for 2+ goals, this is where it gets interesting, Mo. Love you brought this up. He's +950 for 2+ goals, and the 3+ goals for Tage Thompson coming in at +5,000. How would I attack this, you guys? I would take a unit. I would put 1/3 on 1+ goals at +145, right? Yeah. 1/3 on +145 for Tage, 1/3 on +2+ at +950, and 1/3 on the Hattie here against Swayman to come in for Tage Thompson at +5,000. I love it, Mo. I love that you came with that. It's a great way. Washington on the money line and OV anytime goal. Great, solid bet there, Irish King. I love where you're going. Boston, first period, lay and a half ago, and team total over 3.5. Now, I don't blame you for this. You do have a weaker goaltending here in Ellis coming in for the Buffalo Sabres, Boston could be able to get those goals. So if you believe they're going to get 4, I really hope the Sabres come out and get 5, and that we see the Sabres go down in the first period, so you can cash that bet and we can all come back in on the Buffalo Sabres here. Live in Boston. Trust me, they're losing today. Oh, you live in Boston. They're losing today, Dre. I'm sorry. Are you a Boston fan? That's a sharp bet. It's a very sharp bet where you guys are coming in. DraftKings has a parlay boost up to 11 legs. We should build a 10-legger point prop at the end. Mo, remind me at the end. We're going to build that. Let's get on to the next game, you guys. We're going to start moving fast. Kelly, great to see you here. We can definitely do this. 16 games. Let's go. Anytime goal. Call field. Mika. Yeah, I do like that. Let's move on to the next game, you guys. Love where you guys are going with all of those props. Montreal versus Chicago. This is another original 6 meeting here. I think this is going to be fantastic. I love what we've seen out of Montreal. You guys know I had faith in them in that first game versus Florida. They weren't able to get it done. The first game versus Toronto. In that first game versus Toronto, that original 6 meeting, again, we saw them go tight into that third period and just drop it. Now they were able to get that win in their last game versus Detroit. They came out phenomenal. Now they're going to face the Chicago Blackhawks. These are 2 young teams out there with so much talent. We're seeing the goaltending matchup meant to be Sam Montague versus Spencer Knight. So the odds on this one, Montreal is the favorite, -162 on the road. Chicago coming in at +134. Total 6.5. That 6.5 is just to the under at -134. I can't take this one under the total, but I won't take the full game over. I do think it goes over that. But I think the first period, we start off with an absolute bang. Give me the first period over 1.5 goals at -132. Both teams to score in the first period is +162. Whenever I'm on the show giving you guys a first period and a both teams to score, what I do is I break that up into a unit, because then we've only got one bet on that first period instead of having 2 full units on that first period. So a half a unit on over 1.5 -132, the other half on both teams to score at +162. If you are only going to take one or the other bet, you don't want to split your unit size, and I would just take both teams to score. Risk it. What is that saying? Risk it for the biscuit. What's the saying, right? I don't know. Weird things pop into my head, you guys. I think both teams to score is where you want to go. Okay. So in this one, like I said, it's going to be a fun one. I love what we saw versus the Red Wings. So versus Red Wings for Montreal. Looking at your player combos, Connor Bedard is expected to fly this season. We're expecting that big step out of him. Last season, he did get 23 goals, 67 points. I'm looking for more goal scoring out of Connor Bedard this year. We've added some elements here to the Chicago Blackhawks that should be able to give him the support. There's a couple of players you want to look at, though, for Montreal. Demidov for the goal. I'm so excited for him this season. I love watching him skate out on the ice and what he brings to this team. Demidov coming in for the anytime goal at +250. He was able to score versus the Blackhawks last season. And then Kirby Dack coming out here. He was drafted originally by Chicago, so he is facing his former squad in this one, and I do think he has success. Now, you can do the point parlays of Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, and then I like Demidov and Lane Hudson as well for their points. I think this is a big game. I'll take Demidov for the anytime goal. I'll take Connor Bedard for the anytime goal. You know Cole Caulfield is going to want to get in there and get in there dirty. He's going to be in front of that net really trying to push it out. So we're going to see so much out of these guys. I think that first period, I think we see some chaos between these two teams, some gloves dropping, but the fast speed between these two teams, these young talents looking to make a name for themselves, is going to be crazy. Let's go, Irish King. Dre, you are way too nice. Kaprizov, forgot it. Forgot it was 2 grills. Kaprizov. Yeah. Montreal wins easy. They look hungry. They definitely look hungry. Blake, what is up? This will be the game. Let's go, Hawks. Yeah, it's going to be freaking fantastic. I don't want to side in this one. I want to watch this play out. I want both teams to score in the first period at plus 162. If that doesn't hit in the first period, I'll be taking both teams to score in the second. I think these two teams will have one period where they answer back versus each other instantly. And I think these young talent are going to be just flying out there on the ice. Let's move on to the New Jersey Devils. They disappointed me in their first game. The New Jersey Devils now face the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning are minus 150, plus 125 here for the New Jersey Devils. Total is sitting at 6.5. Minus 134 to the under. Are you kidding me? The New Jersey Devils have so much talent. We did get the Hughes brothers on the Devils parlay, but Quinn let us down, you guys, the other night. So we got Luke Hughes and Jack Hughes for their points. Quinn Hughes from Vancouver. What was he doing? There was so many goals scored for the Vancouver Canucks, and Quinn Hughes was not part of anything. Disappointing to see killing that Hughes brothers parlay. But I do expect Jack and Luke to step up again. Can Quinn step up for Vancouver versus Edmonton? We'll get into him later, but look for Jack and Luke Hughes for the New Jersey Devils to step up nicely in this one. Now, I expect this one to be fast-paced. I expect the fights to come in this one. I expect some stellar goals in the top shelf of this game as well. Look for both of these teams to be firing. Your goaltending matchup is Jacob Markstrom versus Andrei Vasilevskiy, and the lines on this one, minus 150 here for the Lightning and plus 125 for the Devils. Now, I'm going to look for this one to start off fast as well. I like the first period and this game to go over that total. The Lightning, I think, get off to a hot start. So I won't be shocked if this is a 2-1 first period for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I love what they're able to do in transition and the ability to force those turnovers for the Lightning there. They're going to control that neutral zone over the New Jersey Devils. The New Jersey Devils they'll need to look to find a way to clog those passing lanes. If they can clog those passing lanes, force the turnovers on Tampa, then they have every ability of pulling off the upset. But the fast pace of the Tampa Bay Lightning at home here with last change might just be too much for the New Jersey Devils. But I do think no matter what, we're going to get goals. We're going to see the Devils in some opportunities where they do clog those lanes and are able to take that puck away and fire on Andrei Vasilevskiy. Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, the playmakers here of the New Jersey Devils should be able to get things done. So let's look at a couple of these players who we'd be looking at for both of these teams. Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Jasper Bratt. Other than the Hughes is where you want to go with the New Jersey Devils. And when we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, Braden Point, last year it felt like he got us a point every single game. His anytime goal coming in at plus 150. Braden Point is where I want to look on that power play. His power play points were phenomenal last season. You have Kucherov coming in here, Jake Gunsel, Sorelli. There's so much strength on both of these teams. This game has to start off. It has to start off hard and fast. That first period, let's look at the first period. Now, I don't want to take the first period, both teams to score, just in case. The first period over 1.5 goals, it's gross. It's minus 140. We're going to stay off of that. It will go over 1.5 goals. If you want to do the alt over 2.5 goals, you're going to have some balls today to do it, but it's plus 235. Can I see 3 goals? Hell yeah. 1 goal for the New Jersey Devils, 2 for the Lightning, or vice versa. If we see, and it's 11-11, you guys, make a wish that we hit this over 2.5 here. October 11th at 11-11. Let's have over 2.5 goals here for the first period between the New Jersey Devils and the Tampa Bay Lightning. You got to put those 11-11 wishes out, you guys. So the over 2.5 goals coming in at plus 235. I would look, though, at the puck line here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Laying 0.5 goal in the first period, coming in at plus 150. I love that bet. I think Tampa gets off to that hard, fast start that we're all wanting to smell. I said smell because I read smell the over. Yeah, I think this one is growing up. Or see, now I'm starting to read your guys' comments as I try to talk. This is how you guys know that I cannot read and talk at the same time. You grew up playing with the Hudson brothers. That is pretty cool. Lane playing in his hometown Blackhawks. I'm taking him for a point. Mo, take him for the point, playing back in his hometown. That is for sure. I didn't realize Lane Hudson was from Chicago. That did slip my mind. It's just like when Connor Bedard goes back in and plays in Vancouver. He hasn't been that successful though, but I do think Lane Hudson should be able to be successful out there. So Mo bringing more facts to us about that. Yeah, the Lightning to score in the first 10 minutes. Now, are you getting good value on that? Let me just see what I'm seeing in the goal in the first period. Are you able to just get the Lightning to score in the first 10 minutes? Because I haven't seen that on my books. A goal in the first 10 minutes coming in at minus 164. I like it as a parlay piece, but I do think a goal in the first 5 minutes plus 166 holds a value. It's always just so hard, right? You see that first goal. Sometimes it hits like just after the 5 minute mark. So it's one of those bets that is a little bit more dangerous. The goal in the first 10 definitely should come into play. Only thing is they're walking into the Lions' den, who ate a Lightning will fuel the plate of the Devils they're eating. Yeah, it's gonna be quite the game. Let's go down to, we got everything there. Yeah, we got everything there. So let's move on to the next game, you guys. We got the Flyers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. The Philadelphia Flyers here did get Dan Vladar from my Calgary Flames. I'm not seeing him listed as expected. We're seeing the Flyers coming in at plus 145. +1 or +245 here for the Flyers. I know they're a weaker team, but man, the Carolina Hurricanes, even at home, I don't think deserve to be a minus 310 favorite to start a season. The Philadelphia Flyers +1.5 is minus 106. Sign me up all day. We got a total of 5.5 in this, minus 130 to the over. You look at the Flyers, they have covered their last 5 road games on that puck line. They've been able to play strong. They have Urchin starting tonight. Frederick Anderson here for the Carolina Hurricanes. They have won, the Carolina Hurricanes have won, their last 19 versus the Metro when they're at home. This is a team that is so strong. At home, they should be able to, and there's a couple ways you can go with this. If you don't want to take the Flyers at +1.5, the juice is dropping on this, you guys. I got it earlier at minus 114, minus 106 now. It is a great bet. I do think this game starts off a little faster. Carolina's team total is 3.5. Over 3.5 goals for Carolina's coming in at minus 128. I do think they score on Urchin, but I do think you're going to see the Flyers be able to answer back. Second line center, Trevor Zegras here is going to be hugely impactful for this line. And for this team. You saw him pulled over from the Anaheim Ducks, and he had some frustration last season with the Ducks. I do think he adds such a boost to the Flyers. I think his ability up the middle is fantastic, and he's on the top power play unit as well. His anytime point tonight's coming in at +136. That is a player prop that I'm absolutely loving. On the other side here for the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm looking at Jackson Blake here for the point at +118. He's on the second line and second power play unit, and he made us money last season. I'm looking for this one to be a game where the Canes can score 4 goals, right? So if you don't want to take the Flyers +1.5, if you don't think they're going to score the 3, I would look at the Canes to score the 4. Over 3.5 goals at minus 128. You'll have to lay the juice. So I don't love that part of it, but I do think we're going to see the Carolina Hurricanes be able to put 4 in the back of Urchin's net. So the Canes team total over 3.5. I know this is a team we really looked at last season for that defensive play, getting a fast start, getting the lead, locking down. But I do think we look at the players in this lineup, and we're going to see a little bit more urgency offensively out of this team than we did in seasons past. So I'm going to look at Carolina's team total to go over. Let's look at the next one. Take the over. Flyers having troubles down there every year. Yeah, the Flyers do. They have troubles with it for sure. So the Canes team total over, the game over. I think this game can get over because I do count on the Flyers to get a couple of goals in this one. You're playing NHL while listening, and both teams with 13 shots each. I absolutely love it. Have fun playing NHL this morning. We got the New York Rangers then taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh? Are you kidding me? Pittsburgh is looking to start the season out 3-0 if they get the win today. The New York Rangers are going to try to come in with that momentum after getting the shutout win versus the Buffalo Sabres, winning that 4-0 after a slow start in their first game. And yeah, the slow start in the first game was versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. These teams are playing their third game of the season. They've already played each other once. This is crazy scheduling in the NHL. So we're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins did win that first game. They were able to just lock down on the New York Rangers, who looked surprised that they had to play hockey on that day. It's like no one told them that the NHL schedule was starting, and they got out on the ice and looked like they were out there for a midday optional skate. That's how the Rangers looked in that first game in Madison Square Garden. Now they're coming into Pittsburgh to take them on here. I do think Pittsburgh, with how they've looked, this team has looked so solid so far. Their offense is playing well. Their power play, it looks a step up from last season. They feel energized. Now, will this last? This is a problem. The Pittsburgh Penguins are an aging team. Can they sustain what we've seen straight out of the gate? I don't know. They are playing at a faster pace. Their defense is getting more hits. They're coming out physical. Can they sustain it? I think they sustain it in this game here at home and get the win. I'm looking for the Pittsburgh Penguins to get the win. So looking at current odds on this one, we are seeing the Penguins at plus 126. They are a home dog, you guys, at plus 126. Sign me up. They already beat the Rangers. The Rangers are minus 152. I know there is that revenge angle, but the Rangers took that revenge factor out on the Buffalo Sabres, I feel. The total sitting at 5.5, minus 134 to the over, plus 110 to the under. Chicago money line and Bedard anytime goal. Calgary on the money line. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Chicago, I'm leery of a side in that one, but I do think Bedard gets the anytime goal. Tampa Bay money line, Braden Point anytime goal. Who's for the assist? I love Braden Point for the anytime goal. Again, I'm watching that Tampa and Devils one. I do think Tampa has every ability to win, but I think the Devils pushed them in that. So we'll see how Markey stands in net for the New Jersey Devils. It should be a high-paced, fun game there. We're going to move on to the next game. Out here, we have the Ottawa Senators taking on the Florida Panthers. Now, looking at this matchup, the Ottawa Senators are the dog on the road. They're plus 118, minus 142 for the Florida Panthers. Total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over. We got plus 100 to the under, and I hate to say it, I do think this could be an under style game. I think this could be a 3-2 style game. I know we don't want to take a lot of unders, but you look at the goaltending matchup, you have Allmark versus Bobrovsky. I think Florida gets off to a hot start, so I'd look at Florida in the first period on that puck line. First period puck line here for the Florida Panthers, because I cannot remember the odds. Let me just pull it up here for you. You're going to lay half a goal in the first period, and this is the thing with the Florida Panthers. You want to look at this team to come out to strike first. They love to come out, find the weaknesses of their prey straight out of the gate, get that lead, and then try to hold on to it. So the first period puck line, plus 154 for the Florida Panthers, minus a half a goal. I think it is such a solid way to go in this one. Now, here's the thing. If you like that and you like that bet, don't bet Ottawa right now. I think Ottawa has every ability to pull off the upset. If you like Ottawa to pull up the upset, I don't want them at plus 118. They were plus 125 when this line opened, now only plus 118. If Florida goes up and scores first, we're going to get them at plus 180. That's how I think this game plays out. If I miss out because the Ottawa Senators go up first and then Florida answers back in that first period and we get the 1-1 first period and we don't have a chance on Ottawa to come back, so be it. But I would rather wait and get more plus money because it is dangerous here. You could also look, because we have seen the Ottawa Senators lose their last 6 in Florida. Once Florida goes up, I would look at Ottawa plus the 1.5 even. At plus 1.5 right now, no value at minus 215. But if Florida goes up by that goal, right away, you're going to see the Senators plus 1.5 at like minus 120. So you're going to get better odds there. Live betting in hockey is definitely the way you want to go. The overreaction by the books is absolutely nuts. Again, I think the Senators can put up enough of a fight to come back and win this one. Look for the Senators to carry their momentum in from their last game. You look at here, it should be the battle of the Tkachuk brothers, right? We should have Matthew versus Brady Tkachuk. Matthew is sidelined. Brady Tkachuk still playing though. And I do think we can see Brady Tkachuk step up. So the Ottawa Senators got that nice comeback win versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Look for that momentum to come in, that confidence to come into this one, and for them to play strong. Now, I do like Batherson. Batherson is looking solid out there to start the season, but Brady is where my money's got to go. Brady Kachuk for the anytime goal. It's like plus 180, plus 185, but I do think it's worth it. So Florida, yes, they are the stronger team, but I'm smelling an upset today on Saturday hockey. Blues are gonna smoke the Flames. Dre, I thought we were friends here this morning. Sens goalie is too shaky. Omar can be shaky, that is for sure. The Ottawa Senators have improvements on their defense, and that is the problem with the Ottawa Senators for the goaltenders. You can throw the best goaltenders in there, and they don't give that support in front of the net. If Ottawa is to win, they need to come out just on point in this game. They can't make mistakes. They can't turn that puck over. They have to control the neutral zone, have to control those faceoffs. Then they have the ability to get the win here on Florida. Okay, let's move on to the next game. We're trying to get through this as fast as possible, you guys. 8 p.m. Eastern matchup. The Utah Mammoth. What do you guys think of the Utah Mammoth? It's so much better than the Utah Hockey Club versus the Nashville Predators. I'm sure I'll still call them the Hockey Club every once in a while as we get used to these names. But the Predators plus 106 here at home, slight home dog. The Mammoth minus 128, total up 5.5. The juice to the total is on the over. And if you think this one's going over, it's because you think the Predators are going to get the win. If this is a high-scoring game, the Predators pull it out. But I do think in a lower-scoring game, Utah can get the win. Vermalka in goal for them versus Saros for the Preds. Both teams have played one game thus far. We saw the Utah Mammoth lose to the Colorado Avalanche 2-1. So impressive holding Colorado to only 2 goals. I was impressed with what we saw out of them. And then we saw the Nashville Predators get a 2-1 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. So they blew a lot of leads last year, the Nashville Predators, you guys. I don't trust them to be able to get it done here. I think the money line is pretty juicy here for Utah, minus 128. At this price, I don't want to bite, and I don't want to bite on the over at minus 134. If Utah wins, I think it's in a lower scoring game here, but we know Saros had some issues last season. So I don't want to do the over. I don't want to do the under. I do think Utah could win this in even a 4-1 style game, which keeps us under that total, but they're able to get some goals, or a 4-2, which pushes this over. So I would look at Utah here if you see the juice dropping. That's the only way I can bet it. So this is a stay off unless you want to lay minus 128. I'm not going to take it. You're going to stay away to Carolina. You're going to take lay in the 1.5. So that's where I'm going to go with that one. You guys, great playmakers here, though. If you're looking for the player props, the point parlays, I'll look at Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller here for Utah. I think both of those guys come out nice and strong. On your other side, you're looking at Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly. You know they are the playmakers out there for the Nashville Predators that you want to have circled. We're going to move on to the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Minnesota Wild. Columbus, a plus 140 dog today. Minus 170 here for the Minnesota Wild, who just rolled over the St. Louis Blues 5-0 in their last game. This total sitting at 5.5, minus 140 to the over. Gustafsson coming in here for the Minnesota Wild versus Elvis for the Columbus Blue Jackets. When we look at Elvis coming out versus the Minnesota Wild, he's gone 2-1-2. With a 2.89 goals against average and a 914 save percentage. Gustafsson versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, solid numbers as well. 938 save percentage, a 2.18 goals against average, 3-0-1 record in 4 games. So 2.18 goals against average. So both of these goaltenders have had strength versus each other. These two teams do play in tight games. The Columbus Blue Jackets have covered the puck line in the last 14 in Minnesota. So they haven't been blown out of the water in Minnesota. The problem here is Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 172. If the Wild get up first and we see the adjustment going on that puck line, I will be coming back in on the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5 with better value. Now, I do think even though we've got solid numbers here for these teams and the goaltenders, I think Columbus finds a way to score 3 goals in this game. It's minus 122 to the over. We look at the Columbus Blue Jackets here. They're coming in off that loss to the Predators. They had 40 shots on goal versus the Preds. They were only able to net one of those shots out of 40. So they went nice and strong. If they put that many shots on Gustafsson, I could see them going in. We have seen the Minnesota Wild win the last 3 matchups versus each other. Don't forget, Girl Kaprizov did get paid. I know you guys are throwing out Kaprizov there for his point props. You got to look at him. He got that 8-year, $136 million contract. You got to wonder what Connor McDavid's giving the Edmonton Oilers a chance, taking a 2-year deal for $12 million. It's just mind blowing. Kaprizov coming out here. This is the largest contract in NHL history. 8 years, $136 million. Man, I tell ya, he got absolutely paid. Gotta be nice to be Kaprizov hitting the ice right now, knowing what he just got. Matt Boldy had 3 points in the season opener. For the Minnesota Wild, he had a goal and 2 assists. So someone you want to watch to continue to roll hot. When we look at some of these players versus the other team, we have seen strength. You look at Shane Monahan here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He has had 15 points versus the Minnesota Wild in 31 games. So you're averaging a half a point a game, but 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points. You look at, on the other side, Tarasenko versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, 25 career games, 47 points. So 14 goals, 13 assists for 27 points. He has been the strength there. Ryan Hartman has 11 points in 16 games. Definitely someone you want to look at as well. Let's move on to the next game, you guys. We're going to look at this is a storyline, an emotional storyline here. Mikko Rantanen coming into Colorado after they traded him last January. Don't forget that. Now he's starting for the Stars. He returned to Denver for the first time. He'll return here for the first time since we saw him with his game 7. Remember how the Avs got eliminated by their old Mikko Rantanen. He was their playmaker out there. He had a hat trick in game 7, eliminating the Colorado Avs, sending them home in the spring. Colorado is going to remember that. Mikko Rantanen is going to be emotional coming in here in the regular season as well. I do think this is going to be a fantastic game. So let's look at odds on this before we get to the bets. Colorado is a -138 favorite, plus 115 here for the Dallas Stars. 6.5 juice to that under. I hate to say it, but another under, I think, is in play. Look for these defenses to step up. If Colorado wants to win this, they have to neutralize the top lines here of the Dallas Stars. They need to find a way to quiet Mikko Rantanen, Jason Robinson, Rupe Hintz. And if they do, they should be able to win it. They need to control that neutral zone. They need to be able to kill off all of those penalties and convert on the power play. They need to come out strong in this one. I'm seeing a 3-2 win for the Colorado Avalanche. Again, I don't love laying the juice at -138, especially with such a huge game here for both of these teams. You look at Cale Makar, though. I think Cale Makar power play point tonight is where you want to put your money. Cale Makar, top defenseman out there, has been so stellar on that power play. Getting those shots from that blue line and getting the assists out there. Dallas is going to try to push the pace, but this is back-to-back road games for them. They played their last game out there on the road, and I do expect this one to be a tight game where you're going to see those forechecks. You're going to see a physical battle between these two teams, and it be Colorado who walks away with the win because of that power play led by Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. So look for the defense to be the difference here for the Colorado Avalanche and them to pull it off. Mikko Rantanen, I still think he finds a way to get his points on the board in this one, and then Cale Makar for those power play points. You got to look at Mikko. How can you not? It's so true. Avs money line, go get it. I agree. It's the Avs. The Avs are getting it done. We got a couple more games to go over, you guys. We're getting into the later slate, the 10 p.m. Eastern matchup. The Anaheim Ducks versus the San Jose Sharks. And a lot of you might not care about this game. You got two of the lower teams in the league battling it out, but these games can be fun. They can be scrappy. We know Terry Seacrest is gone from the Anaheim Ducks, but I do think this Ducks team still has some talent. The San Jose Sharks are coming off a game where they freaking should have got us that plus money versus the Vegas Golden Knights. You guys, we were this close to cashing. They were this close to getting an empty netter, which they just couldn't get. It was mind-boggling. It was like there was a force across that net. I couldn't believe they didn't get it done versus Vegas, but that's Vegas. Vegas always finds a way, the books and the team. The Anaheim Ducks are the favorite on the road. No freaking way. Minus 126 here for the Ducks. I'm not biting. We're looking at the San Jose Sharks at plus 105. This team can get the win. I'm looking at a total of 6.5. I do think this is a fun, scrappy game between these young teams, and I will look for the Ducks to improve on their power play this season. One of the worst power plays last year, but for the Sharks to find a way to break their losing streak versus the Pacific. They've lost 18 games versus the Pacific. It's been a disaster. Look for Celebrini to come out nice and strong. Over 3.5 shots on goal for Celebrini will get you plus money. I think you look at Celebrini for the anytime goal or his points tonight. Parlay those points with Tyler Toffoli for his points. And then on the other side, Troy Terry coming out here for the Anaheim Ducks. I think he is able to light the lamp tonight. When we go off to the next game, we got 2 more games to fly through, you guys. And I know a couple of you will be more excited to see the Vegas Golden Knights in action tonight. Vegas coming in, taking on the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken are plus 146 here on the money line at home. Give me the Kraken to pull off the upset over the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights are just too chalky here at minus 176. The value is all on Seattle. Seattle was a better home team than they were on the road last season. And you look at this total, 6.5. It's minus 138 to the under. Aiden Hill versus Joey Daccord. Joey Daccord has had some games where he stood on his head. We look at the Vegas Golden Knights. They're off a win in OT versus the Sharks. You've got the Seattle Kraken off the win versus the Ducks. I didn't think they were going to win. Seattle's a team that I like to kick sometimes when they're down. I don't have a lot of faith in them, but I do think at home here, even though it's Vegas, Vegas isn't blowing out teams. They haven't covered the puck line as a favorite in their last 10. I think it's worth a shot on Seattle. If you like Vegas, Vegas in the first period has been money over the season. Vegas to come out strong to start this one, and then Seattle to work their way back in. Then the Vancouver Canucks versus the Edmonton Oilers. We got Demko versus Skinner in this one. This is your late game. It kicks off. The puck will drop at 10:09 Eastern. We have Vancouver at plus 140. Minus 170 for the Edmonton Oilers. Total of 6.5. Minus 132 to the under. Edmonton has lost its last 5 games off of OT. They're off the disappointing overtime loss to the Calgary Flames, and I think they lose again. You guys, I'm not going to lie. It is an Edmonton team that I'm going to tell you each and every game that we look at them in this first month, they are the Cincinnati Bengals of the NHL. This is a team that comes so close in that first month of putting these games together and just dropping some games that they really should win. But then they get things right and they get things done and they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Connor McDavid signed the 2-year contract. This team is riding high. The problem is they still don't have the goaltending that they need to support this team to win the cup. And I hate to say that on Skinner. Skinner has had some brilliant games. I want to see Skinner succeed because I hate to put that kind of pressure on a goaltender. The defense in front of him needs to step up. They need to win in high-scoring games. I do think Vancouver will get those goals tonight. So I'm not going to take Vancouver straight up at plus 140. Not enough value in Rogers Place for me to take them. But I'll look at Vancouver's team total because I do believe they're going to be all over Stuart Skinner in this one. So Vancouver's team total over 2.5 goals is minus 130. You could take that, or you could look at over 3.5 at plus 192. I'll put a half a unit over 2.5, half a unit over 3.5, and that will give me a positive result at the end of the day. Vancouver did beat Calgary in that last one. Quinn Hughes, get us a point. I do think he steps out. You've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You got playmakers up and down the Edmonton side of things. I do think of that disappointing overtime shootout loss to the Calgary Flames. You see Edmonton net some goals as well. So Edmonton had 35 shots in their last game. We'll see what Demko's made of in this one. Wolves stood tall against them. So it's going to be an interesting one. Either way, Vancouver gets over 2.5 and they possibly get over 3.5. Rantanen, McKinnon, anytime goal parlay. Jared McCann, 399 career total points for the Seattle Kraken. You know Jared McCann is coming out nice and strong. He made us money last year. And Kelly, thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys could hit that like, share button over here on YouTube. Also, you know what really helps? I see all of you guys in the live chat with your comments here. If once this show is done, in after the video is posted here on YouTube, if you could just comment who you're liking or that you like the video, posting those comments after the show is done really does help the algorithms over here. We will get to that 10-point player parlay right after we do the recap. So it is recap time, you guys. I'm going to have a couple sips of coffee. My voice is going. It's amazing how much your voice can go. So let's look at these games. It is 1:37. We are minutes away from the puck being dropped on the first game in Winnipeg versus the Kings. This will be exciting, you guys. Okay, recap time. 1:04. If anyone ever wants to keep bookmarks here for me, let me know. It's a lot to bookmark myself after the show, but if you guys are hanging around the whole time, I'd appreciate it. So the first game, LA Kings versus the Winnipeg Jets. I do think Winnipeg gets a win here. I think the shots are coming. Both of these goaltenders are able to step up. I did the parlay of Darcy Kemper and Connor Hellebuck, both over 23.5 save shots on goal. That came in at great plus $2 and change for us there. Both of those goaltenders over the 23.5. Kemper is just juicy. But when you parlay them together, great way to go. Kempe, Kopitar, and Kuzmenko, the players you want to circle, and Quinton Byfield for the LA Kings. Kyle Connor out there, Mark Scheifele for the Winnipeg Jets. But I think Winnipeg takes this one in a game in which both goaltenders stand on their head. The St. Louis Blues and the Calgary Flames. Give me the Calgary Flames straight up on the money line to get this win over the St. Louis Blues. Home dogs that got eliminated from the playoffs because more regulation wins out of the Blues. Sign me up all day. The Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders. Give me the Capitals here on the money line to get this win. I do think this one just sneaks over the total of 5.5. I'll take Tom Wilson for the anytime goal at plus 200. The Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Detroit Red Wings. Give me the Red Wings team total under 2.5 goals. Hold your breath. It's plus 116. Morgan Rielly for his points for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews, William Nylander. When we're looking at the Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins, give me the Buffalo Sabres to go into Boston, pull off the upset, minus 104 on that money line. Look for them to come out firing straight out of the gate. Tag Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin is who I'd look at for your points. The battle of the original six, the Montreal Canadiens versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me this one a hot start. First period over 1.5 goals for a half unit, minus 132. The other half unit on both teams to score at plus 162 in the first period. Give me Demidov for the anytime goal, the demigod out there, as they called him last season, at plus 250. Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki parlayed for a point. Lane Hudson, because Mo pointed out he is from Chicago, returning to Chicago here. Give me him for a point. Demidov and him parlayed for a point. And then Connor Bedard for the anytime goal for the Chicago Blackhawks. And then Kirby Dach, you got to look at him as well. He's versus his former team that drafted him. The New Jersey Devils and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Give me a hot start. Look for this one to come out fast. The Tampa Bay Lightning on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal. I do think this is a 2-1 first period for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The over 1.5 was too highly juiced. This is a hold your nose and look at the over 2.5 in the first period. It's going to be hard to get over the 2.5, but it was getting us great plus money if you're willing to take the over 2.5 goals. Give me Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes for a point parlay. And then on the other side, Braden Point for the point. Braden Point for the power play point. That's where we're going with that one. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. I do think the Flyers keep it tight. They covered the puck line their last 5 on the road. The Flyers plus 1.5, I think, is a solid way to go. The Canes over 3.5 goals if you don't want to take the Flyers plus 1.5. And this game in the first period to go over 1.5 goals. It's kind of juicy at minus 130. Jackson Blake here for the Carolina Hurricanes for a point at plus 118, second line, second power play unit. And then Trevor Zegras here for the Philadelphia Flyers for a point today. He is on that second line and top power play unit at plus 136. The New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We just saw this on opening night. Give me the Penguins to run it back, get another win. You're getting great plus money on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I love what we've seen thus far out of this team. The Ottawa Senators versus the Florida Panthers. Florida first period puck line all day, laying the half a goal. but then it's coming in like plus 150. Then I'm going to come back in on Ottawa. I think Ottawa can win this. Yes, they haven't won their last 6 in Florida, but I'm looking for an upset today. And if Florida goes up first, you could look at the Ottawa Senators plus the 1.5 and not risk that money line. So it is a couple ways to go. Brady Tkachuk over a goal. Brady Tkachuk for a goal. That's how I was trying to go. Utah versus the Nashville Predators. Give me Utah to get it done. You guys are minus 128 on the money line. That's too juicy. I think they get it done. I don't want to bet a minus 128 here on Utah rolling into Nashville on a Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I want a better line. I can't get it. So I'm going to probably stay off of that game or hopefully live bet it. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Minnesota Wild. Ooh, the Wild are overpriced in this one. Give me the Columbus Blue Jackets team total over 2.5 goals. Even though we got solid goaltending versus each other, I do think Columbus, with how many shots on goal they had versus the Predators, they find a way to hit the back of the net. Kaprizov for 2+ points. Matt Boldy for 2+ points, I think is where you want to go with the Minnesota Wild. Monahan here for the Columbus Blue Jackets to get a point or a goal tonight. Definitely is going to be a moneymaker. The Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche. Give me Colorado for the win. Again, it's pricey. I think they win this 3-2. If you want to look at the under, that is what I'm thinking in this one. I think the defense is able to neutralize Mikko Rantanen out here. They have to find a way. Cale Makar for the power play point, but I'd still look at Mikko Rantanen for a point tonight for the Dallas Stars coming back into Colorado after you got that freaking hat trick to eliminate them. The Anaheim Ducks versus the San Jose Sharks. Home dog in the Sharks. Why the heck not? Plus 105. Look for Celebrini for the goal tonight or his shots on goal. Tyler Toffoli for his points. Troy Terry for the goal for the Anaheim Ducks. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken. Seattle plus money at home to win over Vegas. Why the heck not? It feels like a great Saturday night bet. They're coming in at plus 140. Vegas is the chalkiest pick on the board. Everyone's going to have Vegas in parlays. I think Vegas is going to ruin your parlay today. So last game, Vancouver versus Edmonton. Vancouver's team total over 2.5. You got to lay a little bit of juice. You could put the other half unit over 3.5. Edmonton will need to keep pace in this game. They'll need to find a way to hit Demko's net. If Demko comes out hot, Edmonton will struggle. This is going to come down to my lack of faith in Stuart Skinner. I do think Vancouver can hit him and hit him hard. Woo! That is everywhere we were going with those bets. Take the time. If I talk too fast, you guys, when you watch this recap at 11-11-19, the 11-11s are coming up. Hot and fast is going to be a great day out there on the ice. You guys, if you're watching it on repeat and I talk too quick, just slow it down. Turn down that speed. And if I'm talking too slow, turn up that speed. I'm going to try to get a recap board for you guys for these shows. Again, I don't have a producer here, so I'm doing it all on my own when we have such a big slate. I'm working from, I started capping these games yesterday, but it just takes a lot of time to get through everything. Boldy, anytime goal, and Kaprizov for the assists. I like where you're going. Matt Boldy has been solid. Let's build that player point parlay for you guys as the Winnipeg Jets and the LA Kings do kick off. We're going to leave out the early game. And I want to leave off the Penguins game as well. Let's turn to, we're going to build that parlay. Let me clear out all of my bet slips so that I have it here, you guys. And we are going to build this player point parlay. So the first game I'm going to look at is the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to take Matthew Knies here for the anytime point. I think Matthew Knies on that top line is such a solid look. Now, he is juicy, and for a player point parlay, I'm fine with it. Straight up, I'm not. I would look further down the list. But a player point parlay, my first leg is Matthew Knies to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a point. I'm then going to turn to the New Jersey Devils and Tampa Bay Lightning game. I do think we're going to see the goals in this one. Nikita Kucherov, even for a player point parlay, it's gross. I don't want to take it. Braden Point is minus 205. It is still high. But in this player point parlay, I will throw him in. And then minus 205 for Jack Hughes of the New Jersey Devils. Okay, the Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins. You know we're going to go someone with Buffalo here. We got Tage Thompson at minus 205. You guys called out Tage Thompson versus the Bruins for the hat trick. We like that, but for the point, we'll put him in. Even right now with these 4 legs, it's coming in at plus 433. So you guys wanted a 10-legger. That is where we're going to go. I'm going to stay off the Capitals and the Islanders game. I'll go to the Montreal Canadiens and the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor Bedard, if he kills this parlay today, I tell you, I'm going to be calling his mother. So because Connor Bedard's killed too many parlays, but minus 162 for his point. Cole Caulfield is minus 192. I do think he steps up. But you know what? I want Demidov in this parlay. Just let's do Demidov separately. I actually am not seeing interesting. We're not even getting Demidov for the point on the book that I'm using right now. I do think Teravainen can come out for Chicago as well, but we'll put Cole Caulfield over Nick Suzuki. The Senators versus the Panthers. We're going to put Brady Tkachuk in here. You know Brady's got to step up in this one. Brady Tkachuk is minus 160 for a point. I do like Sam Reinhart. He's too juicy. I won't throw him in. The Carolina Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, I'm going to stay off. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I will look at Monahan. I have a good feeling in Monahan today. Monahan's coming in at minus 132. Kaprizov, you guys know we like him, but he's minus 330. Matt Boldy is minus 265 for his point. He has the ability. We're going to stay off that. It just is way too chalky for me. We're at 8 legs already, you guys. We're going to skip Utah. Let's skip Dallas. Let's skip Vancouver. Let's skip Vegas. Jared McCann, though, you guys said for Seattle. Going for point number, what, 300? Actually, let's stay off it. I tell you, that one's dirty, but we're going to go to the ugliest game on the board, the San Jose Sharks versus the Anaheim Ducks. We're going to get some points in this one to finish this off. Give me Troy Terry and Celebrini for the point. You could look at Tyler Toffoli if you want instead, but we got a 10-legger here for your anytime parlay. So are you guys ready for this 10-legger? Because it comes in at plus 92.59. A 10-legger plus 92.59, you guys. It should be good. Now, a couple ways you could go with this is, let me just see. I haven't logged into my account. Let me see if I can just share this with you guys right now. No, it's not going to let me. Okay. So this is where we're going. You guys got your pens, you got your papers. I see you guys in here. We're going to start off with the New Jersey Devils and the Tampa Bay Lightning game. Braden Point for a point and Jack Hughes for a point. That's a player from each team. If you want to just same game parlay them together, it's plus 119. Okay. So those are the first 2 legs of our 10-legger. Now, Montreal versus Chicago. I've got a point for Connor Bedard and a point for Cole Caulfield. If you just want to parlay them together, it's plus 140. Okay. But they're legs 3 and 4 of our 10-legger. Then the Anaheim Ducks versus the San Jose Sharks. Troy Terry versus Celebrini. Troy Terry and Celebrini for a point. That's coming in at plus 155, just the 2 of them parlayed together. But again, legs 5 and 6 of our same game parlay. When we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Detroit Red Wings, I'll take Matthew Knies for point at minus 158. No parlay in that game, just him. Tage Thompson for a point for the Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins is minus 205. Again, don't do it separately. Add it to this parlay. Brady Point of the Ottawa Senators for a point versus the Florida Panthers is minus 160. Shen Monahan for the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Minnesota Wilds, minus 132. That is our 10 legs. That the odds are moving plus 92.59. One more time, the players for this 10-leg parlay, this still my heart as well, Lex. You guys asked for it. We're doing it. These are your players. From the Tampa Bay Lightning, Braden Point. From the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes. From the Chicago Blackhawks, Connor Bedard. From the Montreal Canadiens, Cole Caulfield. From the Anaheim Ducks, Troy Terry. From the San Jose Sharks, Celebrini. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, Matthew Knives. From the Buffalo Sabres, Tage Thompson. From the Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk. From the Columbus Blue Jackets, Shane Monahan. It is plus 92.59. If you put $10 on this, you guys, it's going to return $925.96 if it pays off. If it pays off, you guys, that $10 bet is $925. A $1 bet pays you $92.60. These long shot parlays, only put on them what you're willing to risk. I do think a great way to go is just looking at those same game ones, right? You got Braden Point and Jack Hughes for a point, plus 119 in the Lightning and the Devils game. You got Connor Bedard and Kyle Caulfield, plus 140 in the Montreal versus Chicago, the original 6 battle. You got Troy Terry versus Celebrini at plus 155. And then you got the rest of the guys. So a couple same game parlays, long shot parlays, $1 to win, $92.60. It seems like it's worth $1, right? We brought it up here on the show. Definitely worth $1. You guys, it's going to be a fun day. I appreciate each and every one of you. And the books do want you to make those parlays. They absolutely do. You love parlays and you have your own. I don't think the books will let you, but parlays are only $1. Yeah, you don't go big on parlays, you guys. The books absolutely. They're the shiny lottery tickets, right? They want you to do it. And yeah, just rewind the show. I'm going to do the recap video. I'm going to isolate it out of here, you guys. For that, we'll put that 10-legger into a short as well. Definitely a couple ways that you can get the information for this show, but those games are underway there. There is action in Winnipeg. Let's check the score. Winnipeg has already scored first. They are already on the board. We are seeing, let's see who got that goal for the Winnipeg Jets. We saw the assist out of Kyle Connor, and we saw Alex Lafello, the left winger, number 9, for the anytime goal, someone who didn't make my card today. When we look here at those live odds, is now plus 240 for the LA Kings. I expected this to be a lower scoring game. So the Kings have been able to dominate versus the Winnipeg Jets. If you want to take them plus 1.5 at minus 110, I do think this is a 3-2 style one. So you guys, all the best in all your bets. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mo. Thank you for always coming in with those facts. I'll try to do as many timestamps as I can, you guys. It is Canadian Thanksgiving up here, so I got to get underway. I got to get to the grocery store. I got to get things done. I will do the recap video for you guys. So all the best in all of your bets. We'll talk soon. Bye, you guys. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to all the Canadians out there, and Americans. You can celebrate too. What a better weekend to have a turkey with everything going on. Bye, guys.